I mean, they kicked 12 wides, and certainly there will be a lot of one big talking point if they do lose the game was the fact it was when Joe McQuillan played on while the Wicklow full-back was down injured. That will certainly be a contentious point of view. So look, please God, things will improve for extra time. That St Jude, what is his patron saint of hopeless causes?
Yes,
so I'll keep praying, and Colm can keep talking for a minute.
Colm, keep talking.
Well, there's not much you can say. You know, fair is poor, and you know that by the score. You know, when you have 11 points against 1-8, it shows the lack of quality of forward play that was on offer. And the point I think that Pat made about Damien Power going down injured, and it looks like it been a very serious injury, and the referee plays on. You know, he shouldn't really have done that. Now, in saying that, Wicklow should have reorganised themselves on the pitch and made sure that some of the forwards dropped back to the defender, because I think Conor Lynham ended up getting a point because his man was down injured. So Wicklow ended up with 5 backs against 6 forwards. Now it's normally 7 backs against 6 forwards, but it was a strange decision on their part.
But I suppose there wasn't really a decision because the whole sort of game was a bit kind of helter-skelter.
Yeah, and it's got completely confused and it's disorganised. Now Wicklow, in fairness to them, when they looked down and out, came back, got 3 points in a row and should have sealed it. And Leighton Glynn had a great chance with about 3 minutes gone in injury time, had his kick blocked down, you know, when he was going for a point, and Wicklow or Westmeath come back down the field and they get their equaliser. So he'll be a bit sick with himself with that one.
Westmeath took the lead in that second half, Pat. Wicklow, as Colm said, they came back to lead themselves. Let's have a look at one of the scores in that sequence. It was the score that actually equalised the game from James Stafford. Good point, this.
This was a great point. I mean, they kicked 2 great points from play, and this was one of them from James Stafford. I mean, you have to compliment Stafford and Thomas Walsh at centre field. Their fielding was quite superb at times. They dominated centre field, and that was a magnificent point. And they kicked another fine point early on as well, where a long ball into Dean Odlum. But you know, and they did try to play the ball quicker and more direct in the first half, but it was something that Colm alluded to, was the fact that they didn't have a target man. And while they did kick the ball in long, they didn't have a target man to win the ball. So it was a strange sort of second half in the sense that Wicklow dominated the first 50, or Westmeath dominated the first 15, 20 minutes, and then Wicklow dominated the latter part. So maybe all in all a draw is a fair result at the end of it.
And when the draw is the situation at the end of normal time, Colm, every chance, every opportunity counts. Westmeath has a great chance of a goal as well.
That's right, and it looked to be the turning point. Dennis Glennon, whose pace has troubled Kieran Hyland all day, got in and fairly brave flick back into Michael Ennis, who came on as a sub, and in fairness to the goalkeeper Mervyn Travers, he got down well, and the problem with Ennis was that he was too close to him, and it's relatively easy for a goalkeeper when the forward is in. If he was back another 3 or 4 metres, he'd have a chance to side-foot it past him. It looked at that stage that was going to be a turning point in the game, because Wicklow went down, got a couple of points, the crowd were getting behind them, but you know, they never had the forward talent to be able to put over 3 or 4 in a row and get out of sight. It was always going to be that sort of game. So it's basically followed the script we sort of figured at the start, where Westmeath weren't going to score too much, and Wicklow had a great chance. You know, all they had to do was score, well, at 1-9. It's not, shouldn't be beyond any team in a championship match.
The one difference you saw in that second half was Westmeath were able to bring on the likes of Michael Ennis, Desi Dolan, Damien Healy, David O'Shaughnessy, fellas with Leinster medals in them. They were able to bring on experience, and maybe that is what turned the tide slightly in their favour in the second half.
Let's have a look, Colm and Pat. Actually, Pat, you might talk me through this. The goal that Wicklow got in the first half, there was some doubt about this.
And there was a lot of controversy at half-time, but Wicklow, Westmeath were quite aggrieved with it. So we brought in our good old friend Uncle Piero to have a really good close look at it. And with the aid of technology, we'll see whether he was in the square or not. Watch the run of Paul Earls in the inside and Dean Odlum following through on the outside. We've stopped it here, we've highlighted where the ball is in, and I think clearly you can see that Paul Earls on the edge of the square, just as the ball enters the square. Was it a goal? Absolutely. Correct decision by Joe McQuillan.
And John Keane won't like looking at that, because when that ball was kicked in, you know, a cornerback should be rushing back to get in front of his man. He left Dean Odlum come run in front of him, easy tap into the net.
But it's a lesson there for all forwards at any age. I mean, Odlum's work rate off the ball. You run, always in the hope that maybe there is a breaking ball, and he got the break and he scored the goal.
By the way, just a word to hurling fans that might be joining us in the last couple of minutes waiting for Limerick against Waterford, the Munster Hurling Championship. We have extra time in the game between Wicklow and Westmeath. The Westmeath team, I gather, are back out on the field. We're just waiting for Wicklow. Who do you fancy, Pat?
Have you a coin there and I just toss it up? Toss up, really, honestly. Two poor teams.
But
I have no idea.
But Pat did say that Wicklow, his view was that Wicklow were the better team over the course of the 70.
Yeah, I thought there wasn't that much passion in the game overall. There was more passion in Croke Park last night anyway when Manon and Ahern took over, but certainly I think Wicklow were the better team. Wicklow had a man sent off. Now they can bring back, so they'll be up to 15 for the extra time, so they'll be able to start with a full complement again. I thought Wicklow would win it at the start, and I'll stick with them.
Yeah, I think Wicklow are the hungrier team. They worked harder, and I think maybe hunger might show out in the end. But like I said, there's only going to be, I think, a point in it anyway to carry in.
Yeah.
And the doomsday scenarios, we could have a replay, Michael.
Good, have extra time. OK, that's the situation. 10 minutes, the initial period of extra time coming up. Bicco's smiling anyway. Well, that's nice to see. But regardless of the outcome, he's a happy man at the moment. Let's go back again to Kevin and, of course, to Marty.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, hopefully we will sort out this particular affair over the next 20 minutes or so. Just to refresh what has happened in the sense of the laws. There's going to be 10 minutes each way. The player that was sent off, that is Pádraig McWalter for a second yellow, cannot return, but he can be replaced. In other words, Westmeath and Wicklow can start this period of extra time on 15 players against 15. And also, they'll be allowed to introduce 3 substitutions each in this 2 periods of extra time. Both Westmeath and Wicklow have used their full quota of substitutes during the actual playing game of 75 minutes. Jack Dalton got on just towards the end, and he's resuming in this first period of extra time. Originally, the GA had decided that after 10 minutes of extra time each way, there was going to be a further 5 if the sides were level. But they have thankfully decided that's not the case. So if their sides are level after 20 minutes, as Pat Spillane says, we'll be heading for a doomsday situation and having a replay. Let's see what happens. Wicklow playing from left to right, and hopefully 20 minutes. We're optimists here in the commentary position. We'll have better quality football than what we saw at least for 60 minutes in the actual game itself. Here's Dean Odlum, who has been very impressive at corner forward. There's a chance here for the Wicklow man, but Jones makes a bit of a mess of it. Kieran Jones, and Gary Connaughton comes off.
He was very close to fouling that ball, I can assure you.
John Keane. Down for as John Smith. Back as Francis Boyle, who has been very impressive. Dennis Glennon scored 2 points in the second half. That's his first point of extra time. And he should know this particular pitch because, of course, he's now a Garda based in Tullamore. He didn't play with the lads after the league was completed, and there was rumours of a little bit of an internal dispute, but thankfully whatever was going on has been resolved because he is an integral part of Westmeath and indeed of any ambitions they have. So it's good to see him playing. Westmeath starting brightly. Fergal Wilson, who's been equally quite prominent in this match. Score of 3 points, all of them from play.
And one other little thing we should have said, Marty, of course, the yellow cards and the ticks and what have you, they do carry through, of course. So they still have to be very careful they don't get a clean sheet.
And just on that point, Kevin, Wicklow have 3 players on yellow. Of course, Pádraig McWalter has now gone off with a second yellow, and Westmeath have 5 players. As this free is sent in by Jesse Dolan and over the bar for his first point in the championship of 0-9. By the way, just to tell you Francis Boyle, Donal O'Donoghue, Willie Murtagh, David Duffy and Dennis Glennon are the 5 Westmeath footballers on yellow, and that could be vital before this game is over. Strong wind actually after developing.
It has actually, yeah, and you can see it when Desi put that ball up, the wind took it away and over, so that will help Wicklow in the second period.
Paul Earls, well blocked down by John Smith. He mightn't score an awful lot, but you have to give credit to Smith. He really works hard. We've seen him block down the ball and foraging for possession. Down towards Dennis Glennon. Kieran Hyland, and right beside him, still Dennis Glennon. Puts it out over the sideline under severe pressure. A Wicklow ball. Darragh Haney. Jack Dalton. JP as he's down in the official match programme. Desi Dolan coming in to put a bit of pressure on. Tony Hannon. Thomas Walsh. The win, by the way, favouring Westmeath in this opening period of extra time. Dalton loses possession. Damien Healy, Donal O'Donoghue, Tony Hannon. That's pretty terrible stuff, I have to say, Kevin.
Well, it was just a catalogue of errors by both sets of players. And in the end, he gives it for a hand on the ground, which we might get a chance to look at again.
Desi Dolan is in trouble. And remember, he's been out all through the league, missed it because of knee ligament problems. Looked all right there, nothing too serious.
Scrum 5.
Desi is back. Going back into position is Tony Hannon. Going to take this free. Thomas Walsh was providing an overlap, but Tony Hannon is going to have a pop at this. Against the breeze in O'Connor Park. Hits it well. Back there is Michael Innes helping out his full back line. Westmeath played out of defence. Desi Dolan, nice flick on. It ends up with John Smith. And Westmeath counter-attack. Michael Innes, who cut the ball initially inside his own full back line. Back out for Smith once more. Options available. Long ball for Dennis Glenn. Got a touch to it, but that was about all. Picked up by Darren Head. Free to Wicklow. Paul Earl seems to be in trouble, and there's a bit of nonsense going on here. Darragh Haney involved. The referee is halting play because Dennis Glennon and Paul Earls are both down injured.
This is actually part of the game this year in particular that has developed. After a foul, players holding on to the ball and the opposition absolutely collapsing on him, trying to drag it out of him, using him as a punch bag to release it out of him. That's part of the game. I have no idea why it has developed like this, but the referees just seem to let it run and run.
And Paul Earls came to prominence against Kildare in 2005. Scored 1-6 in his debut. And Dennis Glennon was put forward back in 2004. Tony Hannon. Darragh Hannon. Hefty challenge by Donal O'Donoghue. Back there is Hannon once more. Comes as far as Paul Earls, who's recovered just about. That looked like a throw ball, to be honest with you. Picked up here by James Stafford. Paul Earls is in trouble, no doubt about it. Good ball inside for Kieran Jones. Good work again by Francis Boyle. Good solid corner back, but this time he loses possession. Pressure from Shawnee Furlong. Thought about giving a pass for as Dean Oglam. Goes for the score himself. The cheers are turning to jeers, I'm afraid, from some Westmeath supporters. And that ball is wide. Wicklow have now had 13 wides in this Leinster Championship quarter-final. Gary Connaughton played in the Interprovincials, formerly the Railway Cup, now known as the Martin Donnelly Interprovincials. with Leinster, both in Paris and in Boston. Hoping to head to Croke Park if they can maintain this 2-point advantage. Jack Dalton. David Duffy is down injured, suffering from cramp. And he will require attention. The referee continues on play. Dean Odlum squeezes it back for his Leighton Glenn. Paul Earls available, fully recovered from an earlier injury. Sweet ball over for his Jack Dalton. Capable of scoring, Dalton. Gets inside, that's good play. Can he chip it over the keeper? He can. Saw Dalton play in the championship last year, and I have to say I was suitably impressed. He did a lot of hard work, and he shows his class here.
Certainly is. The angle was difficult, and a really good decision to cut inside and put it very neatly over. Here it is here, sending the dummy to Donald O'Donoghue. That takes a bit of confidence to slip it over like that. Super score.
And the county champions club, Kiltegan. David Duffy is able to continue on around the middle of the field. And Westmeath playing with fairly strong breeze in this first half. It's a cross field, but it's certainly favouring the maroon and white. Only now a point up with a minute and a half left of injury extra time in this first period. Donald O'Donoghue going to take this. Gives it over for Michael Innes. Desi Dolan. Two of the stars of Westmeath suffering from injuries but back on the field of play. Hitting this well wide. They'd be far better off to retain possession, Kevin, and try and work it in.
Well, certainly, as you mentioned, with the advantage of the breeze, which has, for viewers at home, has increased appreciably in the last 15 minutes. These are all good chances.
Just about 40 seconds left now in the first period of injury time. Mervyn Travers made a good save in the second half from Michael Innes. Barrow Haney gathers possession. He's fouled by Conor Lynham. Paul Earls seems to have knee problems, or leg problems at least, suffering a little bit from cramp. Tony Hannon goes for the long ball up for Shawnee Furlong, but well won. 1 minute of additional time to be added on to the first period of 10 minutes of extra time. David O'Shaughnessy floats it in high again towards Dennis Glennon. Kieran Hyland read it well, got there first. Good play by the cornerback, now playing fullback. Stephen Kelly. Jack Dalton. James Stafford waiting for Thomas Walsh. This is Walsh. Back into the centre. Not a great ball, but Leighton Glenn is there to sweep up. Gets by the challenge almost to Damien Healy. Donald O'Donoghue takes up that responsibility. And Leighton Glenn wins the fray. Wicklow are going to introduce Paul Cunningham. And he's coming on for Paul Earls. Paul Cunningham is a very good talent. Of course, the name Cunningham very much synonymous not only with Bray Emmets, but indeed with Offaly football as well. Ball inside. Pulled on by Healy. Referee has blown his whistle. And he's given... Yes, he's decided actually it's half-time. The first period of extra time has now been completed. And still just 1 point between the teams, with Wicklow trailing by a point. Wicklow won 9, Westmeath 13 points. Your thoughts, Kevin McStay?
Well, my immediate one is that Wicklow will be happier. Going back talking about the wind advantage, because they're only a single point down. They've held their own. They've got a few new players on. The obvious now that cramp is taking effect, and one boggles to think that they were going to ask people to play another 5 minutes on top of this a few weeks ago. But there you go. It's on a knife edge, really. It's very hard to say who's going to come through. Whoever now could just get a grip of it. One would have thought Westmeath with the experience to have, but there's a bit more morale or tempo in the Wicklow game at this stage, so maybe they're going to get it.
If you were a Dublin man now, or Dublin woman indeed, watching this game, I'm sure you'd be kind of relishing, warming your hands and saying, well, it looks like we're going to be heading to a Leinster final.
I think Pat Gilroy will be hoping there are no Dublin players watching this game, because there is only one conclusion they could reach, and trying to protect them from that sort of expectation in the next fortnight will be his biggest job, because what we've seen here today, it has been poor. I have to agree with the lads in the studio. It has been poor fare. I expected more, but it is what it is, and they're fighting for a full crowd in Croke Park in 2 weeks' time. That's the prize on offer. It's a prize you mightn't be mad about just now, but that's what they'll want.
But I'm pretty sure as well, to be fair, that both of these teams can play better football. I know Wicklow play Division 4. We know Westmeath can do it, but Mick is in his third year trying to build a team. Your view in terms of the prospects for both of these teams now?
Not great, Marty, I'd have to say. On the evidence of my eyes here today, it just hasn't been good enough. The second championship win in a row for Wicklow, that would be a huge boost for them, and the marketing value of it in Croke Park. But in terms of mounting a challenge, I just don't see it from a Wicklow point of view, or indeed a Westmeath one.
Two Kerry men, of course, in charge here this afternoon. They've passed on their words of wisdom, and it looks like there's going to be a change in the Westmeath lineup, and that's going to be Doran Hart is coming on for Donald O'Donoghue. And of course Doran Hart plays wing forward, but he can play wing back as well. And Dennis Lennon is going back into full forwards. 10 more minutes here in O'Connor Park, Tullamore. There's Doran Hart, started the game at left half, and we'll see in fact where he's going to go for the second half. Looks like in fact he's actually going into that left half back position. Is it going to be Westmeath? Is it going to be Wicklow? We've been rather disappointed with the performance, what we've seen in terms of quality football here, and in terms of intrigue and tension, well, there's plenty between these two counties. The people who travel to O'Connor Park, I'm not sure they got their money's worth, but they're certainly enjoying the proceedings. They're getting plenty of football. Here come Westmeath. Chance here for Conor Lynham. That's a fine kick. Westmeath minor last year, plays his club football with St. Loman's Mullingar. He's making his championship debut today, and you'd have to say, remember the name Conor Lynham. I think you're going to hear a lot more about him.
That's his 4th point from play, and for any debutant in the championship this year that can match that or better it, he'd have said he had a good day out. He's getting the chances, and when he sees them, he's taking them.
Played his college's football with St. Mary's in Mullingar, student in DIT. Looks like David Duffy has problems here. Shandunna man. Came on for the very first time in a qualifier against Clare in Cusack Park in Ennis all of 4 years ago. 6'6", he works very hard with Martin Flanagan. It's been in the past couple of seasons quite a successful midfield partnership. But obviously he has, seems to be a wrist or a hand problem there, is it, Kevin?
It's amazing the amount of injuries in this game, but I've never seen as many injuries. Now the hits have been pretty hard and pretty regular, but it just seems to have been an awful lot of stoppages.
Martin Flanagan is coming back on centre field. David Duffy obviously has problems there with his arm or his wrist. Mervyn Travers, kick out. Well gathered by David O'Shaughnessy. Floats one in for the half-forward line to run onto. Here's Conor Lynham again. Gets by the defence, going through. Will he use the fist? Will it be accurate? It won't. Ball is wide. Keeps Wicklow's prospects alive.
Well, this is a skill that I think perhaps you and I, Marty, last year highlighted the amount of open palmed points people were getting, and this is a real skill that they're not good enough at yet. We saw a lot of them lost last week.
Free there for Westmeath as they send the ball in for Dennis Glennon. That's going to be a free for the full forward. And let me tell all the viewers watching Sunday Game Live, do stay with us because we'll be bringing you very shortly, live here on this very channel, the Munster Championship semi-final between Limerick and Waterford in Semple Stadium, Thurles, immediately after the extra time has been completed here. So do stay with us. In the meantime, it's Westmeath and Wicklow, with Westmeath in the second period of extra time, now 2 points in front. And I'm pretty sure what you're going to see in Limerick and Waterford will be far more exciting than what we've seen here. And that ball is sent wide off the boot of Fergal Wilson. It's 11 wides for Westmeath.
From a free, left footer. Not a bad angle for him. You'd expect Fergal Wilson to be knocking those over.
Already 3.5 minutes of the second period played. And Wicklow need to get the ball down and quickly get scores. Free to Westmeath. Wicklow protest, but they're wasting their time. Would you agree with that call?
How he was going to get a pass, how he was going to pass a ball out of that jungle he was in, I have no idea. He certainly did overcarry, but was he been fouled as he did it?
Martin Flanagan is back on the field to take this free. Dropping it in. Fine catch, James Stafford. Loses under the pressure exerted by the Westmeath forwards, and that seems to be a free dead straight in front of the posts. John Connellan was fouled in the eyes of the referee.
Wicklow just losing their composure a little bit and their discipline. The minute they lost that ball, the first reaction was to foul immediately afterwards. They're not happy with the decision of the referee either, but they ain't going to change his mind.
A little bit off the ball stuff developing as Fergal Wilson taps that over for his 4th point of the match. 3 of those points from frees. So now Wicklow face an uphill battle here. They're 3 points behind. They need to score a goal. As Fergal Wilson tapped that over. Leighton Glenn. Wicklow now trying to survive in the championship. Tony Hannon kicks it forward. Thomas Walsh has to gather. Backfires Hannon once more. Good ball inside. Chance here perhaps for Wicklow to create an opportunity, but it's wasted. Damien Healy is involved, so too Michael Ennis. John Keane comes away with it. Down fires Fergal Wilson, who's playing now in his own half-back club, as Wicklow tried to defend their lead. Need to get rid of it quickly, does he, Dolan? That's going to be send and ball to Westmeath.
I think we might even be giving a
free,
free.
Yes,
them, yeah.
I think so, yes.
The crowd are very animated and annoyed on the far side. Just about.
And John Smith is the player that requires some attention. David O'Shaughnessy makes himself available for the free. Leighton Glenn puts in the challenges. David O'Shaughnessy takes too many steps. Ball is distributed quickly. Chance here. Darren Hayden, and that's over the bar. Wicklow still here, still alive.
Good scores, only 2 between them. Still a full 3 minutes left, at least. So if they're good enough, as I often say, there's time enough on the clock, if they're good enough to get the scores.
Just to keep you informed, Waterford are now leading by 1 point to 0 in Semple Stadium Peerless. The game has just started, and we'll be there very, very shortly once the extra time here is completed in Tullamore. Free to Westmeath. David O'Shaughnessy being fouled. Desi Dolan going to take responsibility. Ennis and Dolan combining. They really are vital to Westmeath's prospects. Martin Flanagan. Desi wants it back. Flanagan wants to run at the Wicklow defence. Fergal Wilson backfires Dolan once more, looking around at the various options. John Smith. And that seemed to be a fair enough shoulder by Dara O'Hanlon. The referee Joe McQuillan doesn't quite agree. And you'll have to look at the replay and let Kevin make the final judgment call.
Well, he certainly lined him up. It was a hospital pass from Desi.
It was.
He had a free subscription there as it was coming across. He lined him up, committed to the tackle. It's just we'll have to see whether he was square on or not. Referee was closer than us, of course.
Yellow card for centre half back Dara O'Hanny. And Joe McQuillan blew the whistle immediately. Now let's just watch this again, Kevin.
Oh, it's a dreadful pass from Des. Well, it is completely frontal.
It is.
But the question that arises is he entitled to go for it? He's not really. And you have to say the referee got that one spot on.
So the chance again for Fergal Wilson. Wicklow bench not looking very happy there. Kevin O'Brien, Mick O'Dwyer, Arthur French. You just sense that perhaps in this second period of extra time the game is drifting away.
Yeah, and the injury now again taking the heat out of whatever little revival Wicklow were trying to mount. They're 2 points down, time is ticking against them. And these injuries, I always find you never get the full value of them when it's added on at the other end.
Well, I know I praised John Smith earlier, but he really does work. He won't score that much for you, but gosh, he works very, very hard.
Terrific match. And Francis Boyle in the corner, you mentioned him earlier. Terrific game today as well.
Conrad Riley from St. Lowlands Club in Mullingar is coming on for John Smith. All that, of course, has taken time, and it also has taken the momentum out of the game. Joe McQuillan has just had a quiet word with his umpires. And coming back out to Fergal Wilson, telling the Wicklow players to get into their positions, and this is the position that Fergal Wilson has to work from. This surely to guarantee victory for Westmeath. Time being delayed in terms of the kick, and that's over the bar. 5 points for Fergal Wilson this afternoon, 4 from frees, 1 from play. And 2 minutes of additional time is going to be added on, as we're now in that injury time in the second period of extra time. It's all a bit of a mouthful at the moment, and the referee again is having a word. It's the Westmeath player, Conrad Riley, who's just been introduced. Wicklow have to get something out of this. Back there is Francis Boyle, Gary Connaughton. Not a great clearance out for his Doran Hart, but he wins himself a free. And that might just be enough for Westmeath to retain possession and guarantee that clash with the Dubs. Gary Connaughton going to take the free. Dropping ball in the middle. Wicklow have it. Jack Dalton. Shawnee Furlong punched away. It needed Wicklow hands. Instead it's Damien Healy and Desi Dolan combining. Conrad Riley. Knocked away by Dara O'Hanny. Sideline ball for Westmeath. It's almost over in O'Connor Park in Tullamore, and it's almost over in terms of the Leinster Championship campaign for Wicklow. Doran Hart gets himself another free, and referee Joe McQuillan blows the full-time whistle. It's Westmeath against Dublin.